Tim Duncan versus Kobe Bryant is a big ass debate in basketball, but today what we finna do is see who actually the greater player is.
Get your ball on.
So for the first category, let's get straight into offense. Now offense, for people who are dumbass people, bruh, they always think that, oh, Kobe Bryant, he shot 45% from the field for his career. That's not really that valid, even though 45% is the truth, and that's how he shot from the field. I mean, you need to put it in some context. This man was taking tough shots and was on some terrible Lakers teams that he did carry. So his 45% from the field is now what we're going to use to determine his efficiency. The efficiency that we're going to use in this is true shooting percentage. For Kobe Bryant's career, he averages 25 points, 5 assists on 55 true shooting percentage. Now from the guard spot, we know that Kobe Bryant was a solid facilitator, and he was a great playmaker too. But the thing that we're going to do is we're not going to really include playmaking too much in seeing who is a better offensive player. Because although Kobe Bryant was a solid playmaker and passer, Tim Duncan, for his position, was a great passer. So in the end of the day, I think they'll cancel itself out. Tim Duncan, on his career, averages 19 points, 3 assists, with a 55 true shooting percentage, the exact same efficiency. But what we're going to do is we're going to give offense to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was taking the much tougher shots on a much higher volume. And there's a thing in efficiency, at least in the NBA, when you take more shots, normally your efficiency goes down. And Kobe Bryant had the same efficiency taking more shots and more difficult shots too. Not only that, but in the playoffs, the comparison between Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant is also very close based on points per game and efficiency. Now, points per game, Kobe averaged 26 points and 5 assists in the playoffs. And he had a 54% true shooting percentage. Now, Tim Duncan averaged 21 points and 3 assists in the playoffs on 55 true shooting percentage. In the playoffs, I think Kobe Bryant is also still the better offensive player. I mean, he's taking more shots. In the end of the day, he's taking more shots, more difficult shots too, and he's doing it on the same efficiency. And if you just want to look at whatever these dumbass people call skill, I mean, Kobe Bryant's a better mid-range shooter, three-point shooter, free throw shooter than Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan is a better post player and finisher in my opinion. But that's it. So for offense, it goes to Kobe Bryant. Now for defense, overall in their career, Kobe Bryant is second all-time in all defensive teams. However, though, while Kobe is second all-time in the most defensive team selections, at first place is Tim Duncan. Now, I'm not going to value accolades too much because I think they are very situational in most of the circumstances. But Kobe Bryant has 12 all-defensive teams and Tim Duncan has 15. Now, this is interesting. When people think defensive selections, they'll be like, okay, Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan definitely had better defensive longevity than Kobe Bryant, as he was an elite rim protector even when he was going out the league. But Kobe Bryant in his prime was an amazing perimeter defender. However, though, to me, Tim Duncan takes defense. Why Tim Duncan takes defense is because paint protection is a lot more valuable and impactful than perimeter defense, especially in that era when they were shooting less threes and were taking more shots in the paint. Tim Duncan, for his career, has a better defensive rating than Kobe Bryant and leads him in defensive win shares. I'm not going to go into depth on that, though, because those defensive metrics are kind of tricky. Sometimes they don't make sense. You know, you can see Trae Young have a solid one every once in a while, which it doesn't make sense. But yeah, for me, it is Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was an elite rim protector. He had amazing defensive longevity. He was always one of the best defenders in the league. And Kobe Bryant was a great perimeter defender and brought it every single night. But yet again, perimeter defense is not as impactful as paint defense. Now, there is a kind of like rumor around which Phil Jackson, who is Kobe's Hall of Fame coach, he said that Kobe Bryant's defensive selections were overrated. Jackson, in fact, says that if you ask me, he shouldn't have made the all-defensive team, not even the second team. It's an embarrassment that he's tied with Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, and Gary Payton, three of the greatest defensive players ever, for the most all-defensive first-team selections. He doesn't come close to those players. Now, I'm not going to take what he said Seriously, because I really don't agree with it. Now, he said that some nights he would take possessions off on defense, and that Kobe Bryant, in some senses, was an overrated defender, but I'm not going to agree with it. I feel like Kobe Bryant had to bring so much on the offensive end once Shaq got out that, I mean, it doesn't matter. Okay, if he takes off a couple possessions, that's fine. Kobe Bryant was still an amazing defender, no matter what Phil Jackson says. Now, the last section we finna go through is narrative. And narrative is so interesting in all-time great debates, because basically the GOAT debate right now between Michael Jordan and LeBron James is straight off narrative. Like, completely. Their careers are so comparable that the thing that carries one over the other is narrative. For narrative, Tim Duncan to me edges out Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is an amazing player, but Kobe Bryant did have Shaquille O'Neal on his team, and Shaquille O'Neal had a top 3 peak of all time. Shaquille O'Neal, he was an amazing player and brought Kobe Bryant 3 championships. I think that's why the narrative is not on Kobe Bryant's side. Now, Tim Duncan, although people said, man, he had a Hall of Fame coach, he has Hall of Fame help, that Hall of Fame help wasn't at a Hall of Fame level Tim Duncan's whole career in San Antonio. For instance, those years that Shaq was with the Lakers, he was in his absolute peak and some of the greatest offensive seasons we ever seen. You can't say that the same about Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. In retrospect, Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili is mediocre help to what superstars get these days. You know, Tim Duncan would kill to have Anthony Davis or Stephen Curry as his second option on a championship team. So I feel like narrative does favor Tim Duncan because of his help. If we're looking at Tony Parker's prime was fine. You know, I don't see it as anything great. When people talk about Tony Parker, I don't even know if they talk about him being an all-time point guard, even though he probably will be a Hall of Famer. And Manu Ginobili, yeah, he was a bench player for most of the time in his career in San Antonio. So this is why I think Tim Duncan has narrative over Kobe Bryant. Now, I do think it's close, though. Narrative is interesting because the whole city of LA is kind of like formed by Kobe Bryant right now. The whole city of LA loves Kobe to death. You know what I mean? You'll see that those are the most diehard Kobe fans are in LA, and it makes sense. You know, he changed that city and franchise so much. He's the greatest Laker of all time. And, you know, he changed a lot of basketball culture, too. Kobe Bryant was such an accepting, respectful, and loving guy. You know, and even though Tim Duncan was loving and accepting and respectful, he just didn't have that same reach that Kobe Bryant had. And for that fact, Kobe Bryant spent 20 seasons with the LA Lakers, and he brought them winning. He brought 5 championships. No matter what, he will always be deeply loved by the Laker fan base and everybody, to be honest. I love Kobe Bryant. But at the end of the day, I think narrative does favor Tim Duncan. Now, to me, I don't know if I have a complete answer on who is greater all time. I have Tim Duncan higher all time. That's just because of his narrative, basically, you know. But if you have Kobe Bryant higher all time, I mean, it makes complete sense. And let me know your thoughts. Who do you think is higher all time, Tim Duncan or Kobe Bryant? To me, it's Tim Duncan, but thank you for watching the video, y'all. I've been appreciating all the support. And yeah, if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like.